cannot describe how happy I am that Spider-Man Homecoming is now in theaters. I have been waiting for this movie for over a year and a half. That's a long time to be waiting for a movie. So yeah, you guessed it, this review is Spider-Man Homecoming. I got the chance to have an early screening today. That probably makes it sound like, for the listeners out there, that I'm like some special like movie critic. No, there was just an early screening at a movie theater I live nearby, and it was like a $5 day, because they do $5 days on Tuesday and Thursday. You can see any movie for $5, and you know, Spider-Man Homecoming comes out tomorrow, and there were just early showings tonight, and I hit up my friend Michael, who's been on the show a couple times, and my dad and my brother, and I was like, yeah, we should go see this, it'll be a fun thing, and we did. So this Spider-Man is about Peter Parker in high school. You know, we've had the Sam Raimi trilogy and the Mark Webb trilogy, but really, if you think about it, Peter wasn't in high school for those ones. That one was just like, yeah, he's in school, but we're going to focus on what goes on outside of school. So, you know, that really wasn't the Peter Parker story that fans wanted. But in this one, we get that story. We see Peter's high school life, how he's treated by his peers, who his friends are, who his enemies are, which, let me say, I know there was a lot of hate about Tony Revolori, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, getting cast as Flash, because Flash is basically a jock and he's white. But Tony Revolori, he's a pretty skinny guy and he's Indian. First off, stop being racist, and second off, he was great as Flash. I loved this actor. I loved him in Grand Budapest Hotel. I think he's great in that movie. And so when I heard that he was cast as Flash, I was like, oh, I'm actually excited for that. And I was always just one of those people that was like, let's see what his, portrayal can be like. Because I think it's either something that's going to be pretty bad or pretty great. I was always leaning with the great side, and it was really good. He really pulled off the bully act. Because in the other Spider-Man movies, there was a Flash Thompson, but we never really saw Flash Thompson enough to be like, oh yeah, he's a bully. No, in this one, he's a bully, and you know why. Like, it's pretty obvious out there. The thing they really changed up about this portrayal as Flash is that in the other ones, Flash was like a jock who's like, big and buff, but in this one, Flash is just like a rich, snobby kid who's like, he's a douche. He's kind of like the guy that, like, no one really likes, but they hang around. And I don't know, Tony Revolori just did a really good job as him. I personally think that all of the actors in the movie were actually great. I loved all of them. They all did a great job as their characters. Michael Keaton is fantastic in this movie. He is great as Vulture. Vulture's story is just so well done in this that I'm honestly surprised. Because, the MCU is known for having villains that aren't that good, but this one, we actually get a good villain. I personally think Ego was a really good villain. I know there are people that would probably disagree with me on that they could be like, oh, he was a fine villain, he's not a great one. I actually really liked Ego as a villain, but Vulture really knocks it out of the park in this one. He was just such a great villain, and Michael Keaton just does a great job portraying him. It really seems like he has a thing with playing winged creatures. We had Batman and Birdman, and now we have Vulture. Tom Holland does a fantastic job. I was never one of those people that was really skeptical with Tom Holland, but overall, he is Spider-Man. He is the real Spider-Man, and I really liked his performance. All of Peter's friends were good. I thought the guy who played Ned Leeds, I'm blanking on his name, he did a really good job. The girl who played Liz did a really good job. Zendaya did a really good job. Agorni Rice did a really good job. She wasn't in the movie as much as I thought she was going to be. Granted, I didn't expect her to be, one of the main characters in the movie. She's more just a side character. She plays Betty Brant. For comic fans out there, you probably will recognize that name. But yeah, she did a really good job. Like I said, she's not really in the movie that much. She probably has altogether 5 lines, but she did a good job. I think, in my personal opinion, the biggest standout, though, of all the characters in the movie, of all the actors, who I just think was the biggest standout was Jon Favreau. I wouldn't really say he was the comic relief in the movie, because Peter's best friend Ned was the comic relief, but Jon Favreau probably got the most laughs in the movie for his character. He was just fantastic, and why we haven't seen Happy Hogan since 2013 befuddles me, because he's such a great character, and Jon Favreau just does such great things with him. Also, as you know, Robert Downey Jr. is back as Iron Man. Let me just tell you, don't go to this movie being like, yeah, Iron Man's going to be in this movie. He's really going to be great in this. He's not really in it. Like, no, this isn't my spoiler video, but this really isn't a spoiler. Robert Downey Jr. really isn't in it. He maybe has like 5 or 4 scenes, but in those scenes, he's really good, and he really does the Tony Stark act. And so it was really cool seeing him be a mentor to Peter. And Kevin Feige did confirm, we are going to have a different mentor in the next Spider-Man movie. And if I had to place my bets on anyone, now this let me just say this isn't based off of anything that happens in the movie. This is just my personal opinion for who I think could personally, be the next mentor to Peter, replacing Tony Stark. And I think it's either going to be Ant-Man or Captain Marvel, because I feel like they have to have a way to introduce Captain Marvel to us, and I feel like maybe doing it as like a mentor to Peter, that would be a cool way to, introduce Brie Larson into this universe. Obviously, they'll have her in Infinity War, which is going to come out in May, but it'd just be cool to see her, be in a Spider-Man movie as like his mentor, because she plays a pretty pivotal role, and she honestly is kind of like Iron Man 2, or not the movie Iron Man 2, just she's like Iron Man a lot. She's a leader. She's like a natural born leader, and she even takes over the Avengers at some point in the comics, so it'd just be cool to see her be a mentor to Peter. Overall, this movie was just fantastic. I love this movie. I think, in my opinion, and I definitely talked about this with my family and friend afterwards, I think it was better than Guardians 2, and I actually really liked Guardians 2. But this movie, it's the thing I think that this movie did best, and Guardians 2 did this, but I think Spider-Man did it better. I don't know. It just is, it's the way I'm viewing it. It's really hard to express it, but Spider-Man was funny when it needed to be funny. It was serious when it needed to be serious. It had great action, and you were entertained throughout all of it. I don't know. This movie was just really good, and it was a great way to introduce us to Spider-Man. And obviously, we had him in Civil War, but basically take the Civil War scene, so like 25 minutes of Peter Parker / Spider-Man, and apply that into this 2-hour movie. That's the whole movie. I know. It's good. I really like this movie. And I can't, wait. I really can't wait to see what we'll get with Spider-Man in the future. I'm going to give Spider-Man Homecoming a 10 out of 10. I love this movie. It's great. Go see it. Thank you all so much for listening. If you've liked what you listened to on here and you want to listen to more, go comment, like, and subscribe. That would be really helpful, and I would really appreciate it. The links to all of my social medias are down below in the description. I should add that right as I upload this, I am going to start recording my spoiler video, so that should be up shortly. So stay tuned for that, because I will talk in depth about spoilers. Other than that, this has been a Talk in Depth.